Hey guys, right now over on ESPN.com, our NBA insiders give 6 Russell Westbrook deals that work for both sides. One of those being with the Miami Heat, a team that Russ reportedly has some interest in. That, of course, is predicated on being traded. Let's say that Russ does end up in South Beach. What would that look like for Miami's offense? Well, Westbrook loves to push the tempo, finishing the second most transition field goals last season, behind only Buddy Hield. And that would certainly be a really big change of pace for the Heat, as they've ranked in the bottom half in transition shots in every single season since LeBron James left 5 years ago. Another area of change for Miami would be more one-on-one basketball. The Heat ranked in the bottom 10 in total ISOs last season. They also struggled on those plays, ranking second worst in isolation efficiency, ahead of only the Knicks. And Russ would definitely bring more ISO basketball to Miami. I think we know that. He recorded the 4th most isolations this past season, but I do want you to keep in mind that Westbrook ranked outside the top 50 in isolation efficiency in 2018 and 19. With that, it's leg day. Tim Legler joining us now on SportsCenter. So, okay, let's play the what-if game. Where do you think, should Westbrook get traded, would be 2 good fits for him?
I think a couple of teams jump out. Detroit, to me, would be slightly ahead of the Miami Heat. When I look at the Detroit Pistons, I look at a team that's, number one, already got a couple of guys there, Blake Griffin and Andre Drummond, so you're close. You've got veteran players who have star potential. And I think the fit with Blake Griffin and Russell Westbrook, the way they like to get up and down the floor, I think those guys actually would complement each other pretty well. They obviously need somebody to be an additional draw in that new building. Russell Westbrook would fit in well there. And I think the Miami Heat going down with Jimmy Butler, again, a guy that plays an ISO-type style like Jimmy Butler is not really going to affect Russell Westbrook that dramatically. He's not a catch-and-shoot player anyway. So I think you just have now a lot of star power, individual talent. And I think the way that they're coached, the front office organization, the structure, and the stability is something that Russell Westbrook could thrive in. So I think either one of those 2 places, but I would probably pick Detroit if I picked one.
Okay, do either one of those 2 places become an instant contender if he joins the squad?
More relevant, more competitive, but when I think contender, I think can they win the East?
Right.
And I would say no. I don't think they're on that level with teams like Milwaukee, probably even Philadelphia, and maybe even Boston.
Okay, you do have something to say about the Western Conference. We're going to get into that. How now does he view the Clippers now that Kawhi Leonard has decided to join that landscape? That is coming up in just a little bit. But as far as the title odds per Caesars Sportsbook, well, the balance of power, obviously. In the West at this point, 5 of the 7 title favorites are out West, including the Clippers and Lakers as co-favorites. Tony, Mike, which LA team is better?
All right, Wilbon, which is the better LA team right now, the Clippers or the Lakers?
Tony, this is no slam dunk. Pardon the pun. I mean, this is tough. These 2 teams are loaded with both stars and really good ensemble players. Right now, because they were coming off a 48-win season already, and Doc Rivers has worked with a big part of this group, and he's Doc Rivers, I'm going to go with the Clippers because Kawhi Leonard, Paul George, Patrick Beverley, Montrezl Harrell, that foursome, Tony, is the best defense put together by one team since the '85 Bears. No one will score against them on a high percentage. Seriously, Leonard and George are Pippen and Jordan, or the closest thing to me we will have seen in the NBA, the 2 wings playing that kind of defense. And I know Rondo, Avery Bradley, speaking of good defenders, Quinn Cook, DeMarcus Cousins, Danny Green, these guys are a great ensemble to add to Davis and LeBron.
Yeah.
But the Clippers, Tony, 48 wins. They're not coming out of 13th place in the lottery. They're coming out of 48 wins in the playoffs.
All right, so I'm going to take sort of an overview here and talk about a conversation that you and I have had privately, in which I said there are teams that I'm not going to root for anymore. Now, I'm not saying that about the Lakers and the Clippers. I think it's very important to the NBA that the Los Angeles teams are good. I really do. I think it's important that the Knicks are better than they are, but they're not better than they are. But I will say this, that what has happened essentially overnight, this volcanic explosion of people moving, people under contract even, getting themselves out of contracts like Paul George and ending up, 2,500 miles away, has made me look at Utah and Denver differently.
Yeah.
Made me think that it might be fun to root for Utah and Denver and never to root for the Nets. And as much as I like the people in both Los Angeles teams and love Doc as you do, the acquisitiveness of both these teams is difficult for me now. It might be much different next year. But
Tony, doesn't mean if I'm picking number of wins in the regular season and I'm going to pick either of the LA teams in the West, I might go Utah, Denver for regular season wins in the West. That's it. We're done. Back to you.
Still to come on this edition of SportsCenter. All questions considered from the Women's World Cup champs. Megan Rapinoe and Alex Morgan have the answers in a new interview today with Jeremy Schaap. Also, as the countdown continues to the Midsummer Classic, Tim Kirkson takes us through the evolution of baseball's All-Star Game before the first pitch tonight in Cleveland. And much more on the shakeup of the NBA landscape. Tim Legler returns to rank the Western Conference, including a surprising prediction for Zion.
Consecutive World Cup. Some members of the U.S. women's national team said that they were rendered speechless by the feat, which was kind of ironic because there was certainly plenty being said about this team during their run, and almost none of it had to do with their actual play, which was brilliant, by the way. From excessive celebrations to clashes with the president to the little matter of pushing for equal pay, today Jeremy Schaap talked with Megan Rapinoe and Alex Morgan about their historic run despite so much noise.
Just a couple of days after winning the World Cup in France, we're joined by two of the stars of the U.S. women's national team. They both scored 6 goals at the Women's World Cup. Alex Morgan and Megan Rapinoe, congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, you get any sleep in the last couple of days?
Yeah, a little bit. Not much. Yeah. Maybe as many hours as we had goals in a couple of days.
All right, so that's, what is that? That's 12 goals.
Yeah.
From the very beginning of the tournament, obviously you guys always have a bullseye on you because you're the most talented team in the world and you're the defending champions. But also with the 13-0 win against Thailand, the criticisms of the celebration, the back and forth, it seemed this team more than ever was a target. How did you take that energy, the positive energy, the negative energy, and transform it into something that you could use?
I think honestly, these last 4 years have prepared us for that kind of media attention. I think that we've all found our voice more and more, and the confidence in that, not only as a group, but sort of as individuals as well. And so it just seemed like every moment there was, negative or positive or tweets or this and that. And the group just kind of takes it on the chin and keeps going. I think that we also are so confident in our true north. Like, we know that we are doing the right thing. We know we set the right example. We go about things the right way. We're respectful. We respect the game. And we play our absolute hearts out for each other, for this country. And on the biggest stage, I think that this team just relishes that moment and just, performs every time.
This victory means so much to so many. It's having such a big impact. This team is having a moment, and it goes beyond, as you said earlier, just the victory on the field. In terms of the political backdrop and your back and forth with the President of the United States, Donald Trump, how do you put it into perspective?
I think we know who won that.
Yeah. I held up my end of the bargain on that one. I mean, honestly, I see it as a positive thing. I think when it was happening, we did keep a really tight bubble, and the whole group was so supportive of me, but it did feel like positive in a way. Obviously, I think the tweets were negative in tone, as he usually does, but I think that we just even more so realize in that moment we're so much more than what we are on the field. And I think this team really understands and is so prideful that we do carry with us other people when we step out on the pitch. It's the game, of course, and we want to win. But knowing the impact that we have already had, and knowing the impact that we were going to have when we came home, the motivation of just that alone is incredible. And I really feel like we do this for our group, for ourselves, for our team, for our staff, for our friends and family, and for everyone.
We're so lucky to be able to play this sport and do what we love and be well supported by our federation. But we also want to continue to raise the bar to nudge people, to nudge our federation along, to nudge FIFA along. So I think that, we're doing a lot to continue to increase opportunity, and I think people respect that side of us, and I mean, I think we're doing a pretty good job of it, but we have to continue to push forward because it's not without, I think, a lot of hard work and also not reaping the benefits and hoping that next generation really does and doesn't really have to fight for that.
I mean, kind of a stunning moment, right, on Sunday in Lyon when the chant of equal pay comes up from the crowd. I mean, that is an issue now that the whole country is talking about. And it goes beyond soccer, of course. Where does that fight go? Obviously, there's mediation coming up between the women's national team and the federation. But where do you think it stands right now in terms of public perception, Alex?
Well, I think clearly we have the fan support. There's no denying that. But just moving forward, I think we really want a collaborative approach with U.S. Soccer. And I think we're very optimistic about that. They've done an incredible job of supporting us. This World Cup just shows really what federations do support their teams and who really made it the furthest. You look at the England's, France, our team, and as comparison to a Brazil who has so much potential, who could easily make it into the final given their quality, but don't quite have the support. So we have to continue to push that along, and I think we're doing that.
I'm sure you were all looking forward to this, but this is the portion of the conversation where we get to legacy. And for 20 years, almost from the moment they won in '99, we've been talking about the legacy of the legendary '99 team. Many of them were there to see you guys win in Lyon. What do you hope the legacy of the '19 team will be?
Oh, man. Much like the 99ers, I feel like we're all cut from the same cloth. We want to change the world. We want to change the way that people look at us, that people look at young girls, that people look at young boys. We want to change the game forever. I think way more than anybody's individual legacy, this team takes so much pride in what we've been able to do just in the short period of our career, and hopefully moving that needle so far past where it was when we started that the next group has a little easier fight than what we had. Yeah, absolutely. I said it when we arrived yesterday. We're not just like a soccer team. We're America's team. And I think that fans are behind us. Everyone's behind us. We have the platform now. So it's just continuing to nudge that along. It's continuing to voice our concerns and our opinions. And it is just leaving that legacy like the 99ers left and, making our own as 19ers.
A remarkable achievement, consecutive World Cup victories. I believe it's only the German women, the Brazilian men, and the Italian men who have ever done that before. Thank you so much for joining us here in New York, and have fun at the parade.
Yeah, we will. Thanks for having us.
Yeah.
Alex Morgan and Megan Rapinoe.
New today.
Social media, a tribute to Tyler Skaggs at the All-Star Game. Mike Trout and Tommy LaStella will both wear 45 tonight. We spoke to Mike Trout earlier on SportsCenter yesterday, and we all know how significant that loss was to the Angels. A terrific gesture by both LaStella and Trout to honor Tyler Skaggs tonight.
Leonard finds George.
There's somebody better than the Los Angeles Lakers with Kawhi Leonard and Paul George.
I'm not. Okay. Well, the balance of power, as you can see, currently resides in the Western Conference as 5 of the 7 title favorites are in the West. The Clippers, co-favorites with the Lakers, the first time since the ABA-NBA merger in 76-77 that the Clippers are title favorites. And after adding Mike Conley and Bojan Bogdanovic, you got the Jazz. 7th best title odds per Caesars Sportsbook. He is back. Tim Legler joining us now. Everyone obviously in the West has aspirations on a title, and they're loaded out West. So I want you to kind of walk me through how you think it's going to project.
Yeah, so let's just get the first 8 through 5 up here right off the bat. And look, if you're going to be bold, when's the time to be bold? 2 months before training camp.
Of course.
By the time I'm wrong, everybody will have forgotten that.
Bam.
So I'm going to go with the Pelicans. I just like this mix. I like the mix.
With the kids?
I love what David Griffin is doing down there. Obviously Zion Williamson, but you also got Jrue Holiday, I think, paired now with both J.J. Redick and Lonzo Ball. Very powerful. I think the Warriors are going to have to battle to get in this year. I'm not one of those guys that thinks they're going to crawl in the fetal position. This is a team I think could still make the playoffs, but they've got to stay healthy. You can't lose anybody. Blazers, Rockets, pretty much status quo for those teams. It's just that now there's a little bit more talent at the top of the conference. So we slide up here to number 4. I love Utah Jazz. I love what they've done. They might even be higher when it's all said and done, but that perimeter trio of Mike Conley, Bogdanovic, Donovan Mitchell, special Rudy Gobert defending the rim. Denver Nuggets, people forget they were a 54-win team, 2 seed last year. They're going to be right there. They're not going anywhere. So that leaves me with the last 2, and I'm going to go Lakers 2, Clippers 1. And I said when Kawhi was going to go to the Clippers that the Lakers would still be the best team, but I didn't know they were going to get Paul George too. So now I will go with the LA Clippers. That could be the best defensive team in the NBA.
And who knows what happens if Russell Westbrook gets traded someplace. We'll have you back to do that as well. Tim Legler, thanks for joining us to break